We're on the stage. We are going to go back. We're going to do the camera the correct way. There we go. And audio. There we are. We're back now. Okay.
Nice.
All righty. Wow. Okay. So hopefully we're back. So now we're going to have to start this all over again. Number one, it is what's in my drawers golf talk. Why? Because I'm old and I got a whole bunch of stuff in my drawers in my shop. That's it. It's me and Matt talking. Me and Matt talking about. You got the club fitter, club maker. You got the really good golfer. That's how this works. All right. I'm not going to go, and I could put the banner back up there, but we'll let that one slide as well. All righty. So we're going backwards. After I was explaining all this stuff about me moving my hands and stuff, a mute Italian. And so what was going on was we were talking about, I don't have anything to show you for builds because it was an Easter weekend. In fact, happy Easter to everybody. We did slow things down on purpose, but we did do some builds, actually quite a few repairs. But the biggest thing was the fitting, okay, the fitting. And what it was a doctor and his son. And his son had just picked up the game, and he is a 22, so he's probably middle of his college thing, getting ready to go do it. And he's going to become a doctor as well. Anyway, when he did is when he took his stance, he looked like a copy of Bryson DeChambeau, except for he didn't have any of the moves that Bryson DeChambeau had. And he took the club so far away from him on the takeaway that all he could do was cut across, but the face stayed where he wanted it to go. So basically, he was creating this big, ginormous incontinuity, I guess, or, because normally you want to be like this. He was basically like this. So it made the face seem like it was massively open. And when it was massively open, you hit this real high cut, and it goes really sharp. Now, here's the other part. He swings 115 mile an hour. Okay.
Good speed.
Yep, except for he hits with that cut, he hits the ball about 5 years into the future, straight up, and then it comes straight back down.
Yeah.
And so he was one of the few people. So when we talk about these fittings and you talk about flexes and whatnot, that if he got a regular stiff shaft and swinging 115, he's probably one of those people that are torquing open the club. And so I put him in a brutally stiff shaft. All of a sudden, he's now finding the middle of the fairway instead of like 2 zip codes over, and he's finding the middle. And then what I did is I changed it. His grip was extraordinarily weak, the traditional thumbs at noon, right? And I said, let's try that.
Okay.
And I said,
doing that with a weak grip, huh?
Oh yeah. And I said, okay, so let's I said, just try and hit it to the left. And I actually got him pulling the ball.
Nice.
So we got him turning, and he got turned because his lower body was kind of small, quiet. Got him turning and hitting it. But because of the way that his wrists wouldn't allow him to, he was really, because of the DeChambeau thing, he was really having a hard time releasing his wrist. And the best I could get him to do, I got him out to, now this is a guy that should be landing at about 270 or 280. The best I could do is get him to 270 or 280 because of this super down hit. And it was just crazy. But he went from being into somebody else's fairway to his own, and he can play golf. So that was a plus. Now the dad, he said he had been caddied when he was a kid, had several swing flaws. And it was funny, but he was making it work getting around, right? So he said putting was his most horrible attribute. So we took to the putter first, and I showed him, he showed me, it was this like made for TV putter or whatever. And I said, okay. And we worked on how far to stroke the ball, where to hit it, and how, because everything, it was this big, long, everything was gauged from up here down to here as opposed to in here. The minute I'd made him do that, I had him hit 30 putts in the ladder drill that we've done back here. He missed 2. Yeah. 2 out of all of them. And he's like, holy cow, that's like 4 strokes aside right there. And because he was traditionally a 3-putter. Okay. So now we got him doing that. And then we got in here, and he was exactly the opposite of Junior. He had this inside, very flat, kind of going swing, and he had this massive offset golf club. I said, let's try a little this, a little that. I set him up, And what it was is he was. You've ever heard the hitting at the ball, not through the ball? He was doing exactly that.
Okay.
And so once we got him convinced of going through the ball, we literally gained him 2 clubs.
Oh, really?
2 clubs, because now he was hitting in the middle of the club face, and he was accelerating through. So now his efficiency went straight up, and it was night and day to watch him hit. And then the best part is we've been on here talking about whether you're a hybrid guy or a fairway guy, and you're in that rare category where you can hit them both. But he's like, oh, I love my hybrids. I said, I don't think you're going to like them anymore because his swing was flatter.
Yeah.
And those fairway woods are made, for flatter swings. And I said, let's hit it. I gave him the 3-wood. There's the new Elite 3-wood, just straight up 3-wood, 50-gram shaft, regular flex. I told him choke down this much because that's what we've been doing all day. Choke down. First 3 shots, a 1.5 smash factor in all 3 of them. Hadn't seen that all day. He literally hit the 3-wood as far and sometimes further than he hit his driver. I said, if you don't put that in the bag, I'm going to beat you with a stick. and I said, now go hit your 4 or your 5. Pick one because you're not going to get anywhere close. And because it was up, he was hitting into the heel, and it was just it felt horrible. I said, dump those, put another fairway wood in the bag,
get him flatter if he needs
and just go for it. And so the best part about it is they both walked away like, oh, I wish I would have known that earlier. And that's the best part, right? Absolute best part is they come back away and they're like, wow, if we would have known that. Right.
I would say this probably happens to you 9 times out of 10.
And that was beautiful. I mean, I really, really like that. That was pretty damn cool. All right, guys. So that was what we did through the week. And as far as doing that, if you guys got any questions, Matt actually knows quite a bit about the swing. He sits here and he gets here and he gets pretty damn quiet. Don't let him fool you. He can
very quiet person.
he can golf the ball. Okay. All right. First one's Emmanuel. Says, hi, Matt and Jim and Robin. Nice to see you there. The triple diamond golf ball is the real deal. Okay. Held up against the wind, spun off the wedge perfectly. Now to sell the 4 dozen Pro VXs. Very nice. I'm glad to hear that, man, because I was really wanting to hear that. The triple diamond. They said it was something to hold on to your head.
That's the new Chrome Soft Tour triple diamond.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And that's their new low spin model.
Yeah, lower still because that Chrome Tour.
Yeah.
It's low spinning now. No.
Oh yeah.
If you want to take a whole lot off, if this isn't going to do what it says it's going to do, hell, I might be able to even hit it without spinning it. That's something else. All right. So very good. Thanks, Emmanuel. I know you did it. They had the Callaway staffer meeting, and I didn't go. It was on a Wednesday, and I just didn't have the time. I wanted to. Oh, here we go. Have you ever hit the new MaxFly forged irons? Butter. Sweet swing club. It is the internal diameter. What? Is it the internal diameter of the golf grip the same size for all sizes except for women and junior? No. No. So I've not hit the forged clubs, but the funny part that you asked me about that is, and it's story time. And when I learned how to grind golf clubs, and we talk about taking off the bounce and messing with the sole. I had this big tray from GolfWorks at one time used to put together the MaxFly stuff, and they put it together during the MaxFly Australian blades.
Oh, jeez!
And I had I had a whole tray of these MaxFly Australian blades that were in the rough. They had just been they'd been is this, and they had all the stamping on it, and the whole outside of this thing was rough as a cob. So I'd start with a sanding paper, and then with the other ones, and get them to where, and I would get them looking like they were high polished chrome, and it was as raw as they came.
Really?
Yeah. So it was really kind of cool. Anyway, what we're talking about, internal diameter of the golf grip, the same for all sizes except women's and juniors. So There are no. There are in the day. The standard was a .5 or a .580, 0.60, and now a .610. Okay, those were the standards. Okay, and I believe in some cases, if you go further back, Emmanuel, further than I like to say that they probably went a little bit smaller. However, for the standard men's size, 0.580, 0.60, 0.610, and even in the big butt era, the 0.62 or 63. And so the key here, in order to get it to being a standard size,
it was the same butt size.
The same butt size and the shaft got to marry up. So if you want it to be a standard men's grip and you had a 0.50 internal diameter grip, you needed a 0.50 exterior diameter of the shaft in order for it to work. Now that's what guys used to do to cheat it to make the club or make the grip a little bit bigger. Is what you would do is you'd get the 0.580 grip and put it on the 6.0 butt, and you get like this mini mid-size.
Yeah,
and that's what they would do. Now the ladies are 0.56, 0.55. Same thing applies.
Yeah,
and then the juniors are right there with them. So we got that one. All right. Sweden is 45 degrees Fahrenheit. You can keep it there.
Yep.
There you go. Rasmus says, and Matt, look at that. Hey, there's Charlie.
What's up, Charlie?
And you too, Matt. Look at that. Everybody's up there, and you too, Matt. There we go. There we go. Rounds of 82 and 80 this last weekend. There is a little at a time. Yeah. Did you get out this weekend?
No, I did not. I was
chasing the soccer ball.
I was watching my son play soccer. So
got to have your priorities.
That's somewhat true. Yes.
Yeah. So as we were talking before getting in here, and that I probably need to go to therapy on my on my golf game, and that. Of course, the last time I played is when you saw us being down in Myrtle Beach, and before that, it was even in October. And of course, I have all the expectations that I'm going to hit them just like I did before. I wasn't when I was hitting them well, and I get out and I don't, and I get flabbergasted, and all of a sudden, I got to run through it just like everybody else, the paralysis via analysis, and I'm just like, good God, and the funny part was, and I'm going to put Flight Scope on notice here. It was because of Flight Scope.
Oh, jeez.
And it was because I got this new program, and it made me hit it shorter. So I'm trying harder to get the distances that I'm used to. Yeah. So it turns out it was nothing more than a silly setup on distances here, and I had it set up at 0 degrees altitude.
Oh.
So it was like I was golfing in the desert, I guess, or hitting the balls into the ocean.
So you could put put it at like
I can
10 miles in the air, something like that, and it'd go 500 yards.
Wherever I can make it feel. I can make it feel like you're golfing in Denver, right?
Okay.
And then in the old machine, you had high, medium, and low. I figure, well, we're in the middle of the Appalachia, we'll go with medium. And it worked perfectly. I mean, I'm talking dead on numbers. And we get to this new one, I'm literally 10 to 12 yards short. And I'm like, and I'm grunting and I'm turning hard, and I'm like, good golly. Yeah. And just threw me completely off balance. And I bet it took a half a dozen emails and talking to 2 different technicians and getting them in here. Look, I know the machine's working. We need to go through each one of these. And I put both the programs on the computer. I let him ghost in, and he could take over both of them and go look. And I said, I have no idea where I'm missing it. Yeah. And we figured it out there. And I just tried it again when I got back home, and the numbers are now starting to jive. They're within a couple of yards. I'm not going to get crazy with that one. The reason why I like the new program is it has a feature on it that shows you where you hit the ball on the face.
Club? Oh, wow.
The face.
Okay.
I'll show you when we get done, but it's really cool. So, and so I dribbled the ball off the tee. and I just played nothing but rebound on that one. And then when I decided to hit I actually parred a hole, and I still shot a 45,
Nice.
as gross as it was. But we'll get it there.
There's a lot of people that would love to have a 45.
I know, but my idiot brain thinks I should be. I watched Matt come in. He says I shot a 68 in the middle of a blizzard, and we get through there. All righty. So Charlie's saying hey to Rasmus, Manuel, Max Fly Forge Irons. They didn't making club. They do. They don't get a lot of press, Charlie. They really just don't get a lot of press. They're more about the golf ball and the sporting goods stuff than the irons. But they really did at the time. They were, like I said, that those Australian blades to date, if you talk to people, that'll be in the top 8 golf clubs that people desire easily.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know. There's John Cherry. Hello, and everybody. And he's in Myrtle Beach.
Nice.
John Cherry, how's the weather? I don't know. There's Krister. Hope all is well with you and Robin. Thank you, sir. Nice. Krister's been practicing. He's got his Instagram, and I get this feed from him every once in a while.
Speed.
And the way that he hits the ball is just crazy. I'm just waiting to see. Oh, he had a fitting.
Oh, he did.
Remember he's talking about he was going to a fitting. So we'll have to see how that one worked out. Chris, Charlie beats me to the question every time right there. Yes. What's new in the bag? Charlie says, thumbs up, folks. Now that since the audio was off, if you would, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you get all of these things going forward. Appreciate that. Oh, and for you, Charlie, this is Maker's Mark, the heart release of 2024. There we go. Oh, here we go. He says, I had the fitting last weekend with the Titleist to test the new mini driver. Ended up ordering it.
Everybody's going with the mini driver.
You know what?
Oh my gosh!
With the psychological breakdown I'm having, and me hitting them, I'm thinking because Callaway just announced an elite mini driver, and they make it left-handed. It's a 40. It's just shy of 44 inches.
Is that with the 11 wood or just a little bit long?
It's a little bit longer, but the head's bigger. It's like, so if the driver's like that, and then the 3-wood's like this, the mini driver's like that. It's a little taller face.
Okay.
In reality, if you guys, and this is a serious part of it, they typically, I haven't seen the picture yet, but typically the face is taller than the typical 3-wood. So your 3-wood would be like this, and this will be like that. So if you're somebody that just literally hits one up in the air, by design, if the face gets taller, so does the center of gravity. And when you do that, you hit a more penetrating shot. Now I have 2 reasons to call my rep for the golf balls and the mini driver. There we go. So we're trying to figure it out. I don't know. P790 Charles, graphite and steel. They're getting a lot of press with that, aren't they? They basically gave it a new makeover. I think they did a few things. That's
TaylorMade
driver, yeah. They got the QI 35s, which they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And then these 790s are that's been their popular model. That's the hollow body, looks like a blade, very, very strong. You'd probably hit the 7-iron probably to 200. They're that strong. It's a
loft of a 5-iron.
Yeah, because they're that strong.
Yes.
They're literally that strong. You could bust your buddy's bubble when you say, I'm gonna hit my set. You're 200 out. What are you gonna hit? Yeah. You're gonna hit the 7. The what?
I'm hitting 8-iron.
That would be a morale crusher. A morale crusher. There it is, the R7 mini driver. So everybody's got one. Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway. Everybody's got one.
Everybody was using it at the Masters as well. That's all.
Here we go. The no sound stuff is coming in. Yep. Sorry. Thank you. cool. Hey, did we look like we're doing pantomime up here? Not getting any sound. No sound. No sound. Let's see. Here we go. Hi from Austin. Hey, thanks, Phil. All right. Just now, cold winds from Russia. Oh, my. David, no sound. No sound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There we go.
Waiting for your weather to break. Lawrence, not getting any sound. Hopefully we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Rasmus's smiling at Charlie's comment. Okay, so we're back to it. Krister says, yes, I've seen the Mini Driver. Where I live, they don't have any fitting options for that club, only on the shelf.
I wonder how many people are going 3-wood length shafts with that.
Well, you know what? That is it's funny that you say it like that, because when we do fittings, particularly in the driver, so an average driver length is 45 and a half inches, right? Mm-hmm. And we did this experiment I told you, and we did about 500 of these fittings and driver fittings, and I had everybody I had an NBA guy in here, and then I had this little bitty short thing like this, and when you put them all together and you got them underneath the bell curve, the number one length that everybody liked was 44 and a half, literally an inch shorter. Now, if you wanted to hit a little bit better, 44, you want to hit a little bit longer, maybe 45. But 45 was from a consistent.
Because mine's 45 and a half, but I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
So.
And the way that you swing it too, right?
Yeah.
And I can count on one hand to this day, out of doing this 20 years, how many I've made over 44 and a half.
Yeah.
That's because it's all about smash factor, boys and girls.
Yeah.
And that smash factor is hitting it in the middle of the face. If you can't get in the middle of the face and then get it with some control, typically it's the bat, right? When you play softball, you couldn't bring the bat around, choke up. Every stick and ball game runs on that same exact premise, same one. And it's not me being, oh, look at what Jim found. No. Everybody knows it. And the reason why they got bigger or the reason why they got longer is because the heads got bigger. Yep. And it was purely a cosmetics thing. And now they're going to say, well, we got all this testing. It works really good. Yeah. And that's the reason why the pros are running 44 and a half, 44 and three quarters.
It'd be very interesting, because do they give those numbers out, or?
Probably not. But now the other part of this is the other part of doing this is going to this Mini Driver at 44 inches. It serves two purposes. Look at this. This is that brand new computer I was telling you about. You're seeing it come apart right here. All right. I've had this computer for almost 6 months, and I'm just now taking off the protective.
Usually people do that in the first day.
In the first minute, yeah. I'm such a bonehead. Anyway, with the Mini Driver being that short, number one, it's going to be so easy. It'll be so much a confidence booster off the tee, because you can tee it low. Yeah. You tee it low, so now you're not making all these adjustments to try all these things that tell you tilt so you can go up and the other one is, if you really had to, can you imagine an 11-degree 3-wood?
No.
Hitting that thing off the deck? Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. That thing would be an absolute nightmare for people. So I think it was it has a thing. It just, the first time they tried it, it just didn't take off because I don't think they truly had it figured out. This time they very well may. Okay. What we got here? Tell them to go back where they came from. No doubt. Bill Nauman says the sound is better.
Nice.
Never sounded better, Bill. Being funny there. You still got the no sounds. He's not reading the comments yet. You're correct. Send him an email. La, 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 la. Okay, so here we go. They're talking to each other. We're going to figure it out eventually. The GT 280 worked out. Was fitted into a C1 setting. Could hit it both from the tee and off the mat. Okay, that's what we wanted to see right there. Whether we could do that. I like that one. Krister, that should help find them par fives and 2. Exactly correct. Snowing today in Calgary again.
Ugh.
Hate for that, man.
I hope the snow is behind us in Ohio.
Yep. Well, with these 50-degree days, it better be. Charlie Chaplin movie today.
No, you need the background piano music.
The fact that he knows who Charlie Chaplin is,
Who, me?
know him,
Oh, yeah.
means that he's old.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Looks like he's working on it. Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Snowing is almost the end of April. Oh, that's right. You're a lot further north. Hopefully it melts quickly. Yeah, he's got to be in that time frame where it's going to just show up and then melt, I would hope.
It's got to be warm enough on the ground, too.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Off the tee, my carry was 280 with a total of 306. Wow. Wow.
I don't know if you talked about the Masters as much as you did last week when we were on. And I just want to say the distance that those guys are carrying the ball now, they're flying at almost 302.
Yes.
To carry that bunker, the one that Rory hit on, I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday. It might have been Saturday. And he carried the 302 bunker first hole, carried it. It is just ridiculous. And how much it's a different game. It's a different game than anybody that is at a scratch level, anybody that is 5 to 10 handicap. It's a much different game because those guys, it's amazing. And eventually it's going to get to 400 yards. It's going to get to 500 yards. It's going to get to the point where people are going to be flying at 300 with an iron.
Yeah, they're going to have to get way bigger, but and you know what it is? It's and we were just talking about Jack Nicklaus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jack Nicklaus hit 300-yard drives with his equipment, and they asked, well, what if he had today's equipment? If he had there's two things. Number one, the golf game was totally different back then because of the environmental conditions.
Yeah.
Greens were furrier.
And the ball spun a lot more.
Yeah, you had a lot of balls. You had, it was based on curvatures and working. Now, he hit some 300-yard drives with the woodwoods and the steel shafts and the whole 9 yards because he was a beast. Now, you turn around, I mean, let's face it, he's the oldest Masters champion. That's why.
Yeah.
Is because of technology. Technology helped him win the day.
Mm-hmm.
And because, I mean, of course, there's talent to be sure, but if you would have put that in that guy's hand, if you would have taken and given him the right golf ball and you'd given him that back in the day, he would. I doubt he would even use anything past a 5 iron, just because of how he hits so many things.
Yeah.
It would be crazy, but it's a different game. So now instead of hitting draws and cuts and things, it's just it's howitzer. It's how you howitzer at it. All righty. All that great conversation lost it. Yeah. Hopefully we brought you back to speed, bud. All right. Yahtzee. There we go. Krister is sweet. That is sweet indeed. Yeah. Who doesn't like a 280-yard shot off the deck? You could put the driver in the bag, leave it there, and hit the mini driver.
Nice. I like my 260. 260.
Oh, my God. I get 260 after I drive to it, but that's about it. All righty. Awesome. We're back. Michael Lewis is with us. David Jones is giving us the thumbs up. Charlie can hear us.
Nice.
Mo Betta, Frank says. Sound working. All righty. Here's one for you, Matt. How are you hitting the ball? Here we go.
I've played 3 rounds of golf. I played 18 holes in 2 9-hole rounds. As you heard Jim talk about, my son plays a lot of soccer, so I'm at the soccer fields, the soccer tournaments almost every weekend, and with coaching girls basketball as well. I was busy over the winter, but my 3 rounds, I went 36 for the first 9, 37 for the second 9, and then I shot a 72 for the 18. Hit a lot of greens, but the course that I play has big greens, so you hit a lot of greens there, and it just comes down to whether you can roll it. And I'm rolling it next to the hole, not making any putts, but just like Jim says, I aim left and I hit it to the right, so, and I push it to the right. So
Yeah,
the game's coming along, but I need to play more to go.
so we were doing his loft and lie checks, and he was having a problem with the 4 hybrid, and so we bent it back into shape for him. But and he hands me the putter, and he says, "Is this correct?" I said, "I have no idea. I don't remember the spec." And I said, "Well, putt a few with me." And I looked at it, and I was just like,
"No, yeah."
I'm like, what was that? And he has a putting stroke very much similar to his iron swing, and that's very inside outish, and he controls the face for direction. And I was like, you do that on purpose, right? And he goes, oh yeah, I do it like this. And he's like, I'm just like,
yep, I can.
The putter works.
Straight.
Putter's done.
Straight. My eyes. If I went straight from what I think straight is, I'm probably going 5 degrees to the right.
Oh my!
So when I'm playing my best golf, it feels like I am swinging 5 to almost 7 degrees to the left of where the ball is, and it's very weird. But when I have the times where I'm blocking it to the right or flipping it and then hitting that big hook, it's all because of that. Is because what I deem straight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people have that, where optically when you're standing to the side of something, it's not a straight line. But for me, I have to when I find straight, that is when I can hit shots straight. And
you know, it's funny. Now that takes us right back into the fitting part of it. So when I talk to them, when I talk to golfers and we do putter fittings, the very first thing is I say we talk loft and lie, or I'm sorry, length and lie. Yeah. And the idea is so that you can actually see the putt. If you can't see the line, you can't make it. Yeah. Right. And whether you think you have to putt in a certain pattern or what, but if you can't see the line that you need in order to get it there, you can't put it there anyway. And it is amazing I don't know where this came from, but when you putt, it's very much a pendulum action, right? And so the bottom of your swing would literally be in the middle of your stance. And I'm starting to see all these people move it way forward, like right where you would have a logo on your pocket or something, and they're moving it forward, and they can't figure out how come they're hooking it to the left all the day long. And I'm like, where did you hear that? And he says, do I need to move it back? I said, most assuredly so. Yeah. Well, then what happens is they because they've moved it back 4 inches, the putter just got really long. Yeah. So now you go from this to this. I said, choke down and now make the putt. And I was like, oh, night and day. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun there to see that happen. Yeah.
It's just coming to the idiosyncrasies of everybody's swing, and everybody just has to figure that out. And for me, it's taking and understanding that, and that's part of the reason why I can't fly 280 is because the technique needs to either improve or just continue. But the one thing that I've said many times on here is that my wear patterns, I don't know if you noticed
right
them,
in the middle of the golf
club. They're right in the middle, and it's fun. And I said, if you have not gotten fitted for any type of golf clubs, it's not going to lower your score in terms of you're not going to go from a 90 shooter to a 60 shooter just by fitting. It's going to find that middle of the face. What finding the middle of the face does is the ball's going to go further, and it's going to be a little bit more consistent as it. But the big thing is finding that middle of the face and getting something that you can use. That's the big thing.
Right.
And because you even said it yourself many times. You could hand me a club that was 5 degrees upright and I'd figure it out after maybe 2 or 3 swings, but it would look very weird, but I'd figure it out at some point. But,
well, and that's the thing, right? So if you watched any of the Heritage this week, and we saw that Justin Thomas won, Justin Thomas does not have a conventional golf swing. No. He is very, very vertical, but he pounds the ball a country mile because he's got the equipment underneath him that fits to his swing, and then he knows how to bend the ball one way or to another, and how he gets around. And this week he said the flat stick was helping him out.
The putt he made on the playoff was beautiful.
He was making all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you that all aspects of the game got to be firing on all cylinders to win in the PGA.
Yeah.
So if you can get your putter in line, and we watched him struggle mightily, right, for 3 years or whatever, and so good for him. I'm glad he got it back.
Huge
They were talking about that now that he's a new dad, that he started winning, and his buddy Spieth, that's what happened to Spieth.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we'll see. All right. So Krister says off the ground had a 258 carry, 284 total. Wow, that's brilliant.
That's speed.
That's absolutely brilliant. Phil K, he says he's got a set of Mizuno T-Zoids. Wahoo! He's trying to rebuild with some Tour 90s that came in the JPX 921, but the shafts won't go in. Okay.
Does he have to ream them out?
Well,
department.
the answer is the shafts won't go in. The T-Zoids, let's put it this way, Phil. They're both 355. They're both 355 hosels. It's just that the 350. It's going to sound horrible when it comes out of my mouth, and I don't know if I can take it. But the hosel interior diameter or internal diameter of 921 is actually bigger.
Okay.
And so what it is that in the day
those
when
are the newer ones, right? The JPXs are the newer ones.
Yes. So when the T-Zoids were made, the parallel or the taper tip was more pronounced. Okay, it was very much more pronounced. Where now it basically goes straight down in the last 3/8 of an inch to half an inch. That does that. That's the reason why it doesn't go in. Okay. I could tell you a couple of tricks, but if you've not done it in the past, I don't know if I'd be willing to. All right. It's on you, man, but I'm going to tell you. So there's a couple of ways of getting around it. Number one is you can go get yourself a 380 tip or a 380 reamer, all right? 0.30, it's actually 3/8 of an inch, which is actually a parallel tip. And you ream out the T-Zoids, then go get you a 355 to 370 shim and put them in there. Okay? And that way it'll fill it up. Everything else will be the same. That is the safest, easiest, straightforwardest thing to do. All right? The other one is, and I don't necessarily know if I'd recommend it, however, what I've done in the past for certain individuals only, because I knew their golf game, is that you can split. So if you had the hosel and you cut it just straight this way, all right, you cut a slot in it, and what that does is that takes room out of that shaft and allows the shaft to get smaller. But you don't do it the entire way, otherwise it get funky real quick. You go about halfway up. You find the depth of the hosel, and you only do about half the depth, and then let it get in there, and that'll do it. Now, when you make that cut, it can't be in the plane of the swing. It has to be somewhere else. I like going either way, like you're making an X. So you're coming in at like the 30-60 or the other, just the dynamically opposite.
Yeah.
One of those places so that it's out of the way of the swing so it doesn't take that pressure. That's just me thinking. All right. But those are the two ways you can make it work. And Yahoo.
You thought of that in 30 seconds. The experience that you have is amazing. It's amazing.
Well, they say necessity is the mother of invention. Yeah, he bought a 355 reamer, but the reamer slides into the hosel easily. I use the caliper, and there you go. So, yeah, without reading the next one, there we are. It's just basically what it is that the shaft diameter is a little bit bigger because in the day, the shafts were profiled differently at the tip to marry into those typical 350s or 355s. So what it'll probably go in about this far and then gets jammed up because that's the end of the 355 and it just 370 after that. Oh, Krister, that's more than respectable. You should be finding more birdies sprinkled in with a few eagles. I definitely agree. Holy cow, look at here. We got something coming from Peter. All righty. Hope the Easter Bunny was eco. Jim hit high. Hope the Easter Bunny was eco. Jim Robin, excellent for you yesterday. Well, we had Bob and Penny over.
Nice.
And I smoked a ham, and I was like, "Hey, do you want a barbecued ham or do you want a traditional ham?" And they're like, we want traditional." I was like, "Man, I was really wanting a barbecued ham." And so I sprinkled a little bit of barbecue on just the back end of it, so I knew where it was at, so I would cut some off and see if it tasted better.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, I use the regular glaze that comes in those spiral round ones, right? It's got the cinnamon and the honey and that kind of stuff, and put it on there. And this is the very first time that when I put the glaze on, it actually stuck.
Really?
Yeah, every time it just runs clean off, and you're like, oh my gosh. But this time it stuck. Man, smoked ham, very good, nice and tender.
Nice.
Yeah, Robin did some sweet potatoes with the stuff on it. It was very sweet. And Penny made a salad for us, and then we had some deviled eggs, and man, it was all good. I was glad I didn't eat anything at the beginning of the day because I was stuffed, absolutely stuffed. All right, Peter shot 74. However, more importantly, walked away with 600 and skins.
Nice.
Nicely done, Peter. Well done. There you go, brother. Nice. Okay, like that a lot. There's a manual. Look here. Peter sent us a super sticker at $49.99. Peter, thank you so very much, man. It's funny that you did this because the box so Peter put together this birthday present of a box. And I got these red, white, and blue golf balls, and I got that decanter that's got a golf ball in it that's sticking in the side, and he put in Jim's tee shot.
No.
Right? And he's not wrong though. That's the problem. And I actually got to put the 1792 in it that Penny and Bob bought for me. And anyway, I'm going, and he had this. I'll show you this book of comical cartoons that most of them were golf related. Well, in there also there was all these patriotic coasters, like from the VA or from, and I was cleaning up and I came into this box again. I was like, oh, there they are, and now they're out in the back porch there, Peter. They're doing it, and I appreciate it, man. They will get used. But again, thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate it. All righty, nice round. Explain the part about walking away with 600 in skins. Yeah, I want to hear that too. Sharing this weekend's winnings. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, I hope to find more birdies this season. You know what? As much practice as he's been doing, he was on the verge of like winning that his league last year. And then I don't know if he hurt himself or something, but that was it. Hello, I noticed that your shelf project last week showed a small aging barrel. Is that for decoration? Have you tried aging spirits? Well, yes and yes. The first one, I've aged in both of them. The first one I got from RD1, and it's just a little one. It held a bottle and a half. The other one was a 3 liter. 3 liter? It basically will hold 5 bottles. And so what I did, the very first thing I did in this thing is I got Buffalo Trace. No, I did the Weller Green Label. And the only reason why I did it because I had 5 bottles of them. Somewhere along the travels, because Weller, it was during the time frame when Weller was really hard to find. And the green label, you're like, oh yeah, I got a green label. Okay, I'll pick that up. And not knowing, and I go to another store sometime in the next week or two. They're like, oh, there's a green label. Yeah, I'll pick that up. It's really people like that.
Gesundheit.
Pardon me. And then a guy brings one over and says, here, I found a green. I'm like, oh, okay, great. The next thing you know, I got 5 bottles. I'm like, okay. So what I did is I kept one back as like a control.
Mhm.
I pour them all in there, and you really shouldn't leave it in there more than a month, maybe a month and a half, and then but you can taste it because it's got a little spigot on it.
Mhm.
And the first week, it is absolutely nasty. It just feels like you're drinking a log because it's just nothing
Yeah.
but oak.
Mhm.
And then it starts aging after that.
Mhm.
And I got about 3 weeks into it, and I started shaking it, and I'm like, where'd all this go? So I emptied it out real quick to see, and a whole bottle disappeared.
Really?
A whole bottle.
Just absorbs into the wood?
It got into the wood, went into the atmosphere. I don't know.
Yeah.
So now I had to go back out and go get it, find another one. Of course, it's
Mhm.
still not real easy to
Yeah.
go find, like it is right this very moment.
Yeah.
And the glug 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 glug.
Mhm.
And now I let it set another couple
Mhm.
extra weeks to see if it changed it,
Mhm.
and it did. Did it change it to turn it into something that was like, oh my God, no. It just made it taste a little bit better, which is the whole purpose of the thing, is to change it and make it a little bit better. Now, I have put some other ones that were, I put them together because they were some of my most unfavorites, and I just mixed them together, kind of made an infinity barrel
Mhm.
and let it set in there for a while, and then I poured them back out. And again, I lost a whole nother bottle.
It's got to be the absorption
It-
into the
it-
wood. It's got to be.
You
'Cause you're
figure
not
that?
getting much humidity down like that, right?
No, not inside
Yeah,
there. It's
yeah.
inside a controlled environment, and every time it's lost one. Now, this stuff wasn't my favorite, so it didn't bother me so bad. But the Wellers did. So it is out there. So they do have some. But what I would suggest, Z, if you're going to do that, don't put your best stuff in there. Number one, I would put your middle of the road stuff, and then taste it on a frequency so that you know when to pull it out. Just don't go, hey, I'm going to let it sit a month and then go taste it. And then that way you can get something out of it that you like. Okay, here we go. Michael Lewis, Michael Jr. Oh, Micah Jr., okay. You from Columbus, you fit back in October, swing speed 88, Acura 62 gram, uses a TMMG4, uses the lightest weight 82 gram steel. Wanted a slightly heavier, we would move to Nippon steel. Okay. Oh, I remember him. Well, if the driver speed's 88 and you're using a 62 gram Acura shaft I series, and that's in the MG, no, you're okay, but you're using 82 gram steel shaft. Going to a 68 gram Nippon steel is not going heavier. That's lighter. So, but if you're going, if he's struggling with, if he's pulling it to his inside, right? If something's heavier and he's throwing it out, and he's throwing it out and he's got a good swing too, by the way. And if he's throwing it out, if it's a little heavier, it's gonna perform this cast, right?
Yeah, if he's throwing it out.
Yeah, if he's hitting it, if he's prematurely, if he's taking divots, or if you're seeing a lot of pulls, then yeah, a lighter shaft would be the way to go. Now, if you're asking me something in backwards to this, that his consistency is kind of off, then yeah, maybe something a little heavier would go. Okay, but that's where I would tell you. All right, there's Lawrence. He's saying hello. Jim, Robin, you too, Matt. I hope Easter Bunny was excellent. There you go. He got it. He got it out there this time around.
Cavaliers won, so it was good.
There you go. Gus Snipes, hey there, Myrtle Beach. I'm about an hour inland from you. Okay. Charlie says, no shame in that, Jim. Freddie Couples carried 6 woods in his carries 6
He's got
woods in his bag.
he literally has the same setup that I have.
Oh, does he really?
Yes, he has his driver. He's got his 2 fairway. Actually, I believe he goes like a 3 wood, 5 wood, 7 wood, and then he goes hybrids. He goes rescues until the 6 with his first iron is a 7 iron.
Oh my. I wonder if he's, he was always very, even back when he was on the tour, he was infamous for carrying that fairway wood that had
really
had a lady shaft in it.
Yeah.
Just absolutely blistered it. Blistered it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if he liked feeling the torque of it, like what the long drive guys are doing now, where they're feeling the whole thing and being able to time it up.
Well, but the thing is, his swing is so buttery smooth, where those long drive guys that look like they're just driving a sledgehammer. Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any similar shafts to the Harrison Pro 2.5 Titan today? Oh my God! The fact that I know what that is scary. The Harrison Pro 2.5 was the 2.5 was actually at the time directed at torque. That's how Harrison did their stuff. So and that means very little movement right here. There are some out there in that particular range, and Acura's TZ line would be very close. They got a TZ5, I think would be a good number for you. Something that's more commercially available, Rasmus, is something in the graphite design arena, and that SC, they just released it last year. That's probably a pretty decent one. I think that probably gets you where you want to go. If you wanted something with almost no torque, they have the XC shaft. That might be a little bit too brutish, but if you like something that's really stiff, the XC, I'm looking right at one, and it is a low ball flight giving shaft. So if that's what you're looking for, that's where you could go. Now, if you want something that pokes it in the air just a little bit better, honestly, and it's nowhere near that one, but the Denali Blue, not the black, but the Denali Blue. It'll come close, but it'll feel way better. All right. So yeah, we got that one.
Yeah.
All righty. What's your beverage choice this evening? Oh, let's see. What did she get into? I think she got into some Jim Beam.
I know Sally has something, whatever she brought.
All right. So Charlie, I think MaxFly just started making clubs again this year. I think they quit making them in the 70s. Pretty close, probably in the 80s.
I thought
maybe.
It was I remember
80s or 90s.
MaxFly came out when the MaxFly Revolution golf ball.
Yep.
Right before the Pro V1, the Revolution. I don't think it was like a urethane or whatever that one. I remember I used it a little bit in high school.
Okay.
And then they had a MaxFly Revolution iron, but it wasn't a forged iron. From what I remember, it was a cast iron.
And that would have been the 90s?
Yeah, middle 90s at least.
Okay.
Because most of the guys that I played with, we all played with forged, just with the feel, unless they were ping guys. There was a couple ping guys, but
okay.
Yeah.
So did you play with a blade?
I used those Founders clubs
okay.
Yeah, that's what it.
Well, that was pretty damn close. Those things didn't have those little teeny bitty cavity in there.
Mm-hmm.
Teeny bitty cavity.
Too heavy, too long, or whatever. It was too heavy, too upright.
They're big, yeah.
Too heavy, too upright. Off the toe, and turned the blade like that.
Here we go. Krister's in it again. He tested graphite shafts for his irons last week. The Axiom 105 and the TX compared to taper dispersion with my own shafts. So I will not change to graphite. Honestly, Krister, you would have probably hit the Axiom into outer space just because it's a stiff. And the fact that you like heavier stuff, if you would have taken the Axiom and given yourself an X Flex, and because when you go into X Flex, it would have been actually heavier still anyway. You probably would have liked that better, but you can't go wrong with the dollar tapers. Those things are pretty sweet. John Lamb, thanks for the update. I know they did in the past. I don't see anything from them lately except for golf balls, which is pretty good, by the way. So, Charlie, you playing with have you seen the latest MaxFly? They made a splash.
Yeah, yeah. I have not hit one. I was thinking about using one for one of the winners and buying just like I think they break them down into the tour and then the tour spins or whatever, the Max Fly.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah.
They were getting
But,
some.
they
They were getting some really good
Mhm.
press on it. It was a
Yeah.
really good golf ball.
Mhm.
All right.
Soft. That's what people are looking
Oh,
for.
look at here. Krister says he missed to say hello to you too.
Oh.
Well, there you go. He's saying hello.
Mhm.
I like the Max Fly golf ball, especially the price
Yeah.
point. It just goes to show you, because Max Fly is a fairly large outfit, or
Mm.
the we'll call it the umbrella company is pretty big, and they're making it, and so why can't Titleist do the same thing, or Callaway for that matter, or any of them for that matter? Because you know why? Because people will buy them.
How many people listen to your program, play golf, use the same type of golf ball when they practice, when they play?
I don't know. That's a good question. You heard Matt. You guys practice and play with the same golf ball? I try to.
Ever since my fitting, and I went from Titleist Pro V1X to Chrome Soft, and I have not changed. I've been Chrome Soft ever since
Man.
that time, and it is amazing. And I see these people that they play a Snell, they play a Vice, they play
Whatever the wood,
Titleist,
the wood-
whatever the woods find, whatever
the
they
wood
find
balls.
in the woods, and it's like
the Treasure
why
Island ball.
Yeah, why do I not have any like consistency in terms of that? Well, try to use the same thing, or go putt with the. If you're going to go practice your short game or practice, I know when you're hitting, if you're at a driving range, you really don't have that luxury of going to say I'm going to go hit a dozen Pro
Right.
V1s, but how many actually use the same one? That's a great question.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
And have you been hitting the newer Chrome Softs?
I bought. That's my problem, is because I don't lose a lot of golf
Well,
balls.
you don't.
So my shag bag is
That's
completely full, and I bought 3 dozen last year. Anytime I see them for I think it's like $42. If I find them for $42 a dozen, I usually buy 2 or 3.
If you get the new ones, you'll see a marked difference in the way that they perform.
Yeah,
They're really a different golf ball.
Mhm.
So if you get a chance,
so I have to go find the old ones and get rid of them.
well, yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
they're just it's a different golf ball
Mhm.
from feel to performance.
Yeah, it's a little stronger. That's what I
Mhm.
think. The one.
John Lamb, I like them, but I have so much success with the Z Stars and the VX that I play them. I like those too, Charlie. Those are great golf balls, particularly the XV. That's a real popular one on the tour for those guys. All right. Yeah, still swinging the Wilsons Jim put together for me. Which ones? Do you like the? I made him the CB forged.
Mhm.
Those are the ones we almost got you with.
Yes.
But we made him just a hair stronger for him, and he's hitting the crap out of them, I guess. Round 2, she did the grips, fantastic job. Look at that, giving them all credit. Way to go, Charlie. TrackMan has the impact location that shows you hit the ball in the club face. So does Flight Scope. I'm almost certain that those two are connected at the hip, because when one comes out with a new piece, the other one comes out with it as well. Mr. 3-putt is back. I like that. You see that? Look at that.
What is it? Look. Yeah.
It's a guy with a Mr. 3-putt behind him. It's
Nice.
a Dr. Evil thing there going on. Okay. Hello from Texas. Love the show. My question is, what are your thoughts on the new Antidote putter? I'm assuming that's the zero torque one, or the one that keeps it. It's the competition for lab. So I like Bettinardi for the fact that they're willing to try something new. I like Bettinardi because what really caught my attention and liking when they went some news, they had the Kool-Aid man underneath them on a couple of them. The unfortunate part is I've never been a big Bettinardi fan because of the feedback. The feedback to me, that's just to me, other guys think it's buttery soft. I thought it was very hard, and I just didn't like the way that it felt. Their craftsmanship is top notch. All right, I've watched them do it. They mill every part of the putter. And the face, for some reason, to me, just feels hard. And I get all this vibrating feedback. I don't need it to be squishy, but I don't need it to rattle my eye teeth either. And that's where it's at. So have I hit one? No. What do I think of a zero torque putter or one that does like the Antidote? I think they have their place as long as they fit your eye. Some of these people have been making these putters that in order to do it, like even Callaway, and I'm a Callaway guy through and through, but they did one and they put it on a Model 7, and when I set up to it, it's like 3 degrees closed. And I'm like, how do you have to put it in the back of your stance in order for it to look normal? And I'm not, why do I need to change?
Yeah.
That's the putter's job. But now they did one on a double wide, which was a bladed putter. Thing looks straight up. And I putted lights out with that thing. The other one, not so much. So you got to find one that you got to like the look of where you can set up to it. That is really a lot of the case here. And most certainly because when you have the lab putter, the shaft goes into it back this far back. And so now you have these alignment lines next to the ball.
Yeah.
And you're like,
that's one thing that I'm looking at. That's one thing that I want to start testing to see if I can get one with the shaft behind the ball.
All right. Gus says, I'm installing graphite shafts on bore-through irons. Woohoo! Given how much the shaft goes in through the club head, do I need to make considerations for tipping for proper flex? The short answer is yes. So when you do these, there was a parameter called BBGM, is bottom bore ground measurement, and they had that, and it was, so if it came through, and this would be, and the shaft stopped here, this is what you would measure is the stop here. When you're in a normal club, it would stop here, and then you would have to measure all the way down to the bottom. So much different. Okay. So if you're wanting it to say, and you're going to play a little, and normally these things don't have as much insert in them, particularly Callaway's, as a normal hosel does. So yeah, I would take off an extra, and not to go too crazy, maybe an extra 1/4 of an inch, and then be done with it. Then when you get there, ask me how you're going to put them in there. Charlie, low 80s today. Very dry this past week. You didn't have any more of those friggin' prairie fires, did you? Got to roll out in dry conditions. Damn right. I believe Golf Galaxy has them on their site if you want to look at MaxFly irons. Oh, okay, cool. There's Robin saying hello to Gus. I believe GolfWorks Dick Sporting Goods has collaborated on these irons, pricing $9.99 a set. Depending, it's a
pretty good deal.
That's actually about middle of the road, I would think.
Yeah.
Check them out. Gus says hello. A lot of roll, some of my best drives. John cuts the greens at one of the golf courses that he works at.
Nice.
And then he does a
early riser.
Yes.
Early riser.
And he does a truckload of work external to it. Like he'll be a marshal for some of the kids tournaments that they have. One of the places he works has a massive kids tournament that a pro puts on, and he marshals for them. He's caddied for some of the kids that were significantly better. I mean, he gets out there. Yeah, he doesn't mind volunteering at all.
I've done that a few times with local tournaments by us, U.S. Junior Amateur or qualifiers and all that. Just mostly ball spotting and helping getting pace going with blind tee shots and finding them and putting a little
bit of help. Yeah, they have no idea how good that does.
Oh yeah,
how much good that does.
The pace to play gets better.
Yeah,
especially when you're trying to do like the U.S. Amateur qualifier. You're doing 36 holes on that day, and you've got to get those guys through. And you're watching these guys, and you're like,
I bet they get tuckered quick.
Oh too. Yeah, they're all young, so it's good.
He's getting ready to tee up a mini driver from TaylorMade.
Nice.
All right. Well, you're going to have to let us know how that one works out. Here's one for you.
Uh-oh.
Jesse wants to know, what do you usually shoot?
So right now my handicap, my GIN handicap is just under 1. I think it's a 0.9. I was a plus 1.3 3 years ago, something like that. But I think it's the lack of playing like I'm going through. But like I said, I'm a fairway. All my buddies laugh at me because I don't hit it as far as them. But if put a wedge in my hand and I'll knock it stiff in terms of that. But so I would say usually right around there, Jesse, and my wife yells at me because she always like, you are a good golfer. That's it. No, I'm not. If I was good, I'd be at Hilton Head right now. Or I'd be coming home from Hilton Head right now in that particular one. But
that would be a great golfer.
Yeah, that would be an unbelievable golfer. But
that's from where you're at. And it's funny because, I mean, so this is a brutal question.
Mm-hmm.
So, you'll get guys that are very low, very, very, very low handicappers at their home course.
Yeah.
So do you shoot those same kind of scores when you go visit?
Yes. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
So that's one of the things.
Hard.
Yeah.
That's hard.
That's one of the things. But I think growing up where I grew up in there, we rarely get not like a very dry day up where I'm from, up in it's just northern Ohio. So going to places that are dry, I play better in the dry. So like when I go out to Arizona to see family, when I go different places and play in those areas when it's dry, so I can play.
So here he says I'm a 0.5 and I play better in the dry.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, where are you gonna? I can see these guys taking you back to, and you're playing from the tips too, aren't you?
80% of the time, yeah. We're right around most of the courses that we play. The tips are around 7,000, so we usually play. I usually say we play about 68. 68.5 is the usual that we play. The course that we normally play, it's not that long. The tips are at 67, so that's the one that we normally play, and that's when we always play for the tips on that one. But,
okay, I don't feel nearly as bad because the blues around here are between 65 and 66.
Yeah.
So that's
68, and then there's a few that'll get out to 72, 73. Wow. But that's where the hybrids came in for me, is because I could never hit the 2-iron or the 3-iron high enough to keep it on the green. So
just
it's a technique thing for me. So
7,200 yards. That's that's a huge amount that's just huge room.
And that's where speed. That's where Krister, and I have a buddy of mine that he hits it. He's got, I think his swing speed is at 120. So it's amazing. And he hits 2 clubs longer than I do. So if I'm hitting my 6 hybrid, he's hitting an 8. I'm hitting that, and it's just amazing. And the difference is so much is because I have to play. I've pretty much maxed out what I could do in this game in terms of I'm not going to get to a +8. I don't have enough swing speed for that because I'm not making a par 72 into a par 68 because I have to lay up on a par 5. Put my wedge on and hope I make the putt. I'm not hitting my 4-iron 240 to get onto that par 5.
You are the poster child for putt for dough, drive for show.
Yeah.
You're the poster child.
But you saw my putting stroke, so it's not that good.
Yeah. Well, but you're putting it in there though. That's the thing though. Short game, and that's what Dave Pelz he absolutely lamented on that. In that. Inside 150, if you could be deadly inside 150, you could literally beat most of the people that you play. And I watched 70-year-olds do that to 30-year-olds. So all righty. Let's talk a leaper. Matt, what's the length of your driver shaft?
45 and a half. 45 and a half. I was one of those. One of Jim's on his one hand.
He was on this. He was on one of these 2 fingers right here.
But one of the things about my driver and why we picked the driver and why we picked the Wishans is because I needed them to be 2 degrees flat. and there's not a lot of options.
No.
And that's a huge thing for the OEMs right now, is to get options for that, where you can go the 2 degrees flat.
Yep.
And that's the Washan, and that's one of the things. But I hit it very, very solid. I had a tailor-made, what did I have? The original,
The white one?
No, the first one that got the
580.
Yeah, no. What's the one? They all loved it. The slider. The
Oh yeah, the slider. Yeah.
And the only reason why I had the slider is because we could turn it down to 1 degrees flat. And I was playing around with it, and I was hitting it better that way, and it just turned out to be there. So I'm about 6'5", Jesse, and I play 45.5 degree or length driver, and I use the Washan. It's a 11 degree head, but it's turned down to 9.
Yep. Keep in mind the Washan driver, fairway woods, and hybrids are all bendable.
Yes, and that's why we chose them.
And you got to have a particular bender to be able to pull that off. You just can't put it in any old bender and put it off. And that's the reason why we were able to do it here. But his is more made for when he does them, it's lofts and lie angles.
Yes.
However, in talking with Tom, actually, he says you can go a little bit on loft. You just got to be real careful, because the way that he made it, Tom goes into like massive detail.
Yeah.
And he says you can't go one way, but you could go the other. And I was like, okay. So I'm armed with that information, and we were able to hook him up.
And that was the reason why we didn't go with the Wilsons, the Taurus CVs, because we couldn't get the hybrids to be the same lie angle as that. And then we got to the point where what type of driver, what type of fairway wood, what are we going to use that is going to make, because you want similarities throughout the set, and you don't want to have a 2 degree flat 4-iron and then go to a driver that's 2 degrees upright. It's really that would be just mind-boggling, actually. All right, Krister likes a longer driver. Yeah, great question.
You've seen the way he comes through it, though. He comes through flat too, so he would like as much. There's Dave. And look at Jim, Robin, and Matt.
Nice.
70 degrees in Michigan, but really windy.
Nice. We were up there this past Saturday, up in Ann Arbor.
Yeah. John, what do you say, bud? In late, but good evening. Last Wednesday, 45 degrees, hitting like a rock. Fused back, love golf, but never again. No. Dude, with that kind of cold and that fused back, I imagine that those are two things that are not made to go together.
You've got to use the softest ball you can find.
Yeah.
So there's I use the Chrome Soft until it gets under 40, and then under 40 I use the pink balls. They were I don't want to say they're ladies and something, but they were marketed for men in terms of that. They were like, the Lotties or something like that. And I still have those. And then I use the Duo Softs. Yep. The Wilson Duo Softs.
Those things.
Speak of the devil right there.
There you go.
Those are the softest ones. So if you're playing anything under 40 degrees, you want the softest ball you can find. You're not going to hit it as far because it's not going to compress. So,
even when distance, it gets hot, you're not looking at in 30-degree weather.
I don't think 4 layers too. So
unless you're hitting off the ice, you're probably not looking for a lot of distance.
No.
All righty. He says, his driver's 45.5 inches. But he's a tall guy. Mm-hmm. He's one of those guys you don't want to meet in an alley. All right. When you see him coming, you just turn sideways and let him go through.
I'm a gentle giant.
All right. 45 inches. Would choking down an inch have the same effect? Effectively, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. You just, that extra inch sticking out the back is not going to do counterweighting. You're not going to change flex or any of that stuff, John. It's just, and the best way to do it is if you want to try it, just get a ruler and a silver Sharpie and mark it at 40. Just if you have a 45, if you know for a fact you're 45 inches at the first little rib at the bottom of the cap, that's probably the true where it's lining up. From that line, go a half an inch. And that would be 44.5. and then another half of an inch, and then use that and play around with it and see what you like.
Anthony Kim made he played that way, and he played everything.
He choked down on everything. And that is just because he had dad's clubs, and that was just the best way he could get through it. Look at that. She just, have you tried a 48-inch driver? So this is funny. Back in the day when long drive really didn't have a length qualifier, I made a 52-inch driver with a double X shaft, and the damn thing hit me like right here, right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, and you want to, just like when you see those guys make those really long drivers, it's just like whoa, 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 whoa. And I tried to take a normal swing on it, and it was an absolute disaster. I got the mental image of being a record player. Yeah. And I just stood there and I went, whap, and I felt like I was swinging 10 mile an hour. Yeah. Hit the ball 250 right down the pipe. And I'm like, do you know how much internal intestinal fortitude that would take to have to do that 18 times? There's no way. There's no way. John says, like I never played the game. Yeah. GTA has 5-inch longer hosels, so normally 43.3 would play 43.5. Okay. I'd take 43.5 all day long. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Yes, I've tested the LTD with a 4. Oh, my. I can only imagine what that was. He's asking, okay, let's find out. It was hard to find. It's hard to time the swing because the shaft weight was 40 grams. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that. He says, but his club head speed went up to 120 mile an hour. So you're doing the whip effect. He was buggy whipping it right there. John says, at 65 years old, I'd settle for 230 off the tee. Me too, brother. Me too. If the mini driver is performing that well, does that mean that the driver must be left out of the bag? That's a heck of a question. Matt, those guys work out with strength training to attain those distances. Is not all equipment related. But you're no slouch on your own.
I'm assuming he's talking about when we were talking about the Masters and how those guys are flying at 3. Yep. It's strength training 100%, which is actually hurting a lot of people because they're putting a lot more torque on their backs, and you're seeing a lot of different ways to relieve the back pressure. But the biggest thing for them is that they can hold their bodies, and they are athletic, more athletic than they've ever been.
Right.
And they can hold those speeds and keep their balance. And that's the big thing, is keeping their balance at that swing speed and be able to control it. Yes, I'm 100% agreeing, but equipment is perfect for them. They wouldn't be there. No, they wouldn't. There's nothing left to chance. I don't care what sport you're talking about.
And if they even think sideways about changing, they got a guy right there handing them something to check.
100%.
Jesse's 81. His usual drive is 410, but if you believe that, Atlanta's for sale for $26. There you go. I don't know anybody that'd buy Atlanta right now for $26, Jesse, but okay. Chris Greenslade, Matt, trying hitting a long ball at 5'7". You should be made to play on your knees.
I should.
If he played on his knees, he might actually be 5'7". That's the thing. John, he doesn't have a driver, but thinking of the QI LS was fitted for earlier this year. Oh, I thought you picked that one up. Or no, it was you had the Titleist driver and you traded it in for something
he's
else.
Always been the Titleist guy. Yeah, I remember he's got it with Sean as well because we talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
No, we'll leave the big driver in the bag. He's getting 300 out of it.
Like I said, it's such a weapon to be able to do that and optimal, and again, we talked about the physicality of it, the travel also, and that's a lot of I played with some really good juniors when I was younger, guys that you thought were shoo-ins to play professional golf, let alone to make it maybe even to the PGA Tour, and it's the travel. The travel gets them in terms of that. Where can they move from there? And I always told them, I said, we're playing courses. Our courses are sopping wet. And so You're never going to play a course that's not this wet right now. And people always laugh at me when I say that, but go up to Northern Ohio and
play in the swamp.
Yeah, and play in the swamps. But
all right, Krister's telling John that with the distance he got the mini driver, he may not be buying a regular one. Well, that is what you call some logic.
Yeah, that's coming back to what you were talking about with the size of the heads and how.
Well, if he keep it, the biggest thing is if he could hit it like he's doing it and he's finding the fairway.
That's huge.
All day. He likes fairways. There you go. Outstanding rounds for no warm-up games and you're back in shape. There you go, Matt.
It's
fun. Here you go. Rasmus is going to give you some crap. Not
know,
soccer. It's called football.
Hey, we're I was going to say we're in Ohio.
Over here, it's called soccer.
I have a newfound love of the game with my son. Soccer or what the Euros football. But it is amazing because every team we play, all the clubs we play throughout the country, they always have like somebody you could tell is from another country. Is from Europe, and it's amazing. It's the accents are beautiful and all of that. But again, I love it. I was telling Jim earlier that one of the things I love about it is because I rarely played soccer as a kid. I was a basketball player and a golfer growing up, and my son is taking to this, and it's fun to see him.
Good.
It's fun to see him taking initiative, and that's what I love about it.
There you go. Krister says fairways are overrated. We'll see when you hit them 300 yards and you're in the middle and you're pounding it by your opponent, and you're hitting a 9-iron into the green versus his 6.
Yeah.
Krister is the bomb and gouge type of guy. He will be. I bet real money on that.
You can play long and crooked. You can't play short and crooked.
That's it. All right. John says to Krister, I have 2 guys I play with a fair bit. Both of them play Callaway mini drivers, no driver in the bag. They can put that club even with my driver, sometimes further. Well, there you go. And again, it all keeps going down to the fact that they probably have found the right length of club. If they played their driver at that length, they'd probably get the same thing. However, some people get freaked out about the bigger heads too. There's Robin saying thanks to Peter and congratulations for taking $600 in skins. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Jesse says if he was 6.5 foot tall, he'd go around hitting on folks. Jesse's got a sense of humor.
Yes, he does.
All right. John saying to Krister again, they can also work the ball fairly well with cuts and draws. That said, the dispersion workability, extra 10, 50 yards wasn't keeping the driver in the bag. No, I totally agree. I mean, we're not talking. It's fun to be able to brag about how you're out driving your buddies, but it's even better to get at the end of the day and go, hey. you got a, for me, you got a 45 and I got a 43. Yeah. He says, I got a 36, you got a 38.
Yeah.
But it's still better, when you write down a score that's a bit smaller, that's when it's paying off. Callaway has a 340cc, they mostly from the tee. Yes, that's what I'm getting ready to look at right now, Krister. I might check that one out. Because if it goes anything, I was just telling Matt that, my what we call it the 2 hybrid, it was actually the 319 and Bob gets on me, he says, I don't even know why I carry a driver. Because you hit that damn thing about as far as you hit the other one. And in a lot of cases, he's not wrong. And I can hit it off the deck and that kind of stuff. If I could get something equivalent to that off the tee and I could hit it like that at 11 degrees, holy moly, that would be nutty.
An inch longer of that length.
Yeah, it would be. It'd just be stupid fun. I believe that was 40-something putt that JT made.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So his putter was all kinds of crazy.
Lucky enough, got to watch that, and I caught them on. I've been to Hilton Head once, and we walked that, and it was a beautiful walk.
Was it?
Yeah, beautiful walk. The course was closed. They let us walk it, and so I knew what they were talking about in terms of like their wind, and it was rock hard. They were saying, and then they came on the broadcast and said he had this putt earlier.
Mhm.
He had the putt earlier, but it wasn't the same hole. It was a similar, I think it was the 15th or something, or whenever he made it. And he goes, well, don't be surprised if he doesn't roll it in. And sure enough, man,
There it
boom,
went.
in.
He didn't give him the broadcaster's curse and say,
No,
"Oh, he's
yeah,
going to make this
yeah.
one no problem."
The 3-putt avoidance
Yeah,
number.
yeah.
Yes, it had a 3-putt and 500 holes.
Yeah, that's something like that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But the thing with some of the golf courses out there, like we go, like Muirfield, right?
Mhm.
You go watch the Memorial,
Mhm.
and it is a beautiful course on TV, and it is. They take
Mhm.
absolute top end care of it, but the walk there is absolutely treacherous.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely treacherous. To get around in a nice, to be able to get into a really
Mhm.
beautiful looking course and it be walkable,
Mhm.
man, that's
Yeah,
you're
that's
saying
the one thing
something
about
right
Hilton Head
there.
is there's not a lot of elevation change there.
Right.
So it's an easy walk for them, and they come from Augusta, which is obviously a horrible walk for them. Not as bad as
No.
Kapalua they play
You see,
earlier in the
you
year.
can
but-
see at the end of 18, and they're coming up that hill, and they're stomping,
tired.
they're stomping,
Yeah.
and they're going, "Good God, get me to the flat part,
Yeah.
get me to the flat part."
But if you guys watch a lot of golf, have you noticed last week with Rory, this week with JT, what were they doing on 16 and 17? They stopped and they ate.
Oh,
They were eating
yeah.
I don't know what kind of sandwich he was eating, but they were eating. And that's another thing that people have to start to look at is what are they putting in their bodies when they're playing to keep their blood sugar levels up and all that, to keep their energy levels up.
Yeah, remember that was the big thing. That was the big thing we grew up with was carry a couple bananas with you.
Oh yeah.
Eat one at the turn, eat one,
Yeah.
Eat one just before the turn, eat one just after the turn, and do like that.
Yeah.
And I got into those. We were playing in my golf spy, and I stumbled onto those Cliff bars. And dude, I tell you what, that thing will just
and people forget about that, and people are like, "Why am I tired?" And it's because you didn't eat anything for 4 hours.
Yeah, and that thing, I tell you what, they go, "You ready to go get something to eat?" I said, "Dude, I'm still full from that damn bar." I mean, it was a gut bomb, but man, it was delicious. Peter says, "You're welcome, man." Anna took the other 550 and also got the glory. Oh, sounds like the same thing with his irons.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yes, I worked the ball pretty well. The 282 also, but was more fade bias for me. Flat. All right. Hey, 56-degree lie angle, dude. That thing is 56
What was mine at?
58, 50.
Oh, so that's really flat.
57. Yeah, you
so
could bring that thing up a little
Yeah.
bit. Did she ask you where all of it was? No doubt. Charles, after I get home, knows how much money I had before I played and then counts my money after I get home. Then she relieves me the extra weight of that money.
No comments. No comments.
Charlie's rolling right now.
Yes, he is.
Phil K, this build is just for practice, so there's that. Well, you know what? If you want to get challenged, Phil, doing a bore through is pretty much, you've got every issue in building an iron that you can possibly imagine is in a bore through. Every one of them. You got to with
tip pin that you put in and you cut it. Oh yeah. Okay.
You got fit, making it fit, getting the right ferrule that goes into it because it's an older club. And then you got to get through, and you got to have just enough extension to get through it, and you got to make sure you got enough glue that fills up all those crevices all the way around, plus the tip pin that you're seeing, and then you got to cut them off, And I've seen guys work it both ways, and the whole idea of trying to cut it at the angle and then get it to stay in there and make it that rarely works well because you're always going to finish it again. So the trick is your finishing technique. Right? Once you've got it in there nice and solid, your finishing technique will override all of that and make it look like a brand new club. And that's actually, it's easier than it looks. All righty. Did you squeeze out that barrel? There's some term squeezing came from, well, it's been sitting inside this whole entire time. I'm quite certain that I'm thinking about waiting for winter to come around. I'm just going to I'm going to shove it in the garage. And do that. Now I did that. We went down to Augusta and we bought a couple of barrels for doing woodworking projects. And the guy says, "This cup left you a little something special in this." I'm like, I thought there was a barrel stave or something in there, right? I popped open the first one, and all this liquid started running out. He had left me a little bit extra.
Oh, wow.
And so now it's all on the garage floor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, damn it.
Yeah.
So now I know what I'm looking at for the second one.
Yeah.
So I let it go all winter long.
Mhm.
And the day that it started looking like it was going to get warmer, got Robin out there with me. We popped the bung on that one, and we poured out. I got almost I got 2/3 of a bottle.
Really?
And it was as black as this mouse pad. And I had to I filtered it through coffee strainers to get all the junk out.
Yeah.
Some of the nicest stuff you ever wanted to come across.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Krister, they use it both from the tee and the turf. Turf depends on the lie angle. They got their 5 woods. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Robin says that was funny. Anna is smart. I can't hit fairway woods, so I go with hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hitting a 56 degree, wow, you're changing a swing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry I'm late. Prospector Pete's back with us. Very good. Wayne, Jim Robin, able to watch the show last week, traveling home from Nashville. Hope everyone's doing good. We are, and hopefully you were safe in traveling from Nashville. We're going to be going down through that neck of the woods in June.
Nice.
Yeah. Robin and Penny want to go see Elvis.
Oh, go to Graceland?
Yeah, so we're going to hit that area and swing it over.
We had a soccer tournament in Memphis, so we were down in that area. We did not make it to Graceland, but
did you eat some barbecue?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Was it in the middle of town, or was it?
No, we didn't go downtown. We didn't. I think that's Beale Street, I believe. Is that Beale Street in Memphis? We went to one of the restaurants that they told us to go to from the hotel, and it was really good.
Was it awesome?
Yeah, it was really good. It was.
I can't believe that you would find bad barbecue in
you're
Memphis.
Not going to find. Yeah,
it's just better barbecue in Memphis, right? Good deal. Mm-hmm. Michael Lewis, absolutely, always play the same ball. Look at that.
Nice.
Matt probably wears the cover off his golf balls if he doesn't lose them.
It's funny is because when I had my Callaways, I played those Callaways CBs, and the wedges were the original jaws with the square groove jaws that are now illegal. You can't use them anymore. Those would rip up the golf ball. So I could only use, that's when I was still playing the Pro V1X at the time. So I would go through 2 balls pretty much every 18 because I would rip the covers off of them with the wedges. And they would, and you would have to take them. You have to peel. It was almost like playing a balata ball when I first started playing golf. And but nothing with the chromes offs. Those I do not have those problems with the new wedges or anything like that. So yeah.
All right. Axiom X is 105 grams too. Yeah. I think the Axiom that second Axiom you would probably like, but you're basically all you're doing is chasing vibration reduction at that particular point. And why, right? I don't think so. Prospector Pete knows a guy in Arizona that plays range balls all the time. Oh my. Well, now,
but he's probably
if you got
range balls.
If you got range balls like at the Memorial at a professional tournament, that's like getting AA. That's like getting AAA golf ball.
Playing Papago out there. Where he's probably got every type of brand you want.
All righty. John playing practice same ball.
So a lot of people are playing the same ball. That's encouraging.
Look at that. Krister does too.
Yeah.
Think about Seymour putters. You know what? If it helps you square it up, the whole idea of the Seymour is that little line stuff in the back. And if it helps you line the putt up, then fine. I don't see any with that. Their more popular model is that blade model, and that is a shaft that goes straight into the head. So if you needed a lie angle adjustment, you could only do maybe a degree or 2 because you're virtually bending the shaft. Now, if you had to do a loft angle adjustment, then that will throw the Seymour all out of whack, because the whole idea is you have the blade in line, you have the shaft in line with the blade, and now in order to make any adjustments, you're doing this, right? And you're getting outside of that whole alignment area. So you got to be careful about that. If you can walk up and putt with one and it works fine, or you just got to go up or straight back, then yeah, it can be a very, very good putter. Yes, I agree. If the putter doesn't fit your eye, it won't work. You are correct, sir. What do we got here? X-Rog. What's the difference between the Callaway TCB forged and the AI200 Callaway irons? Oh, I can answer that one.
You are the Callaway staff
Yeah,
member.
I am a Callaway staff guy. All right, the TCB Forged is a true-to-life forge club. It is virtually, I won't say it's a one-piece club because there is a badge in the back that they bolt on. But in reality, it is literally a one-piece forge with some milling in it. Okay, is truly what you would call a player's forged club. Okay, and it has very little offset on it too. I mean, if you have all the definition of what would be a player's club, that is a TCB forged. The AI, on the other hand, is a multi-piece club. I believe it's 4 pieces. And along with the face, the back, the weight in the bottom, and there's probably that urethane microspheres thing, is all part of that construction where it's not in the TCB forged. And there's a little bit more, even though it's very little, there's more offset in the AI 200 than the TCB forged. And if I didn't know better, I would think if the lofts aren't exactly the same, I would say the TCBs are actually weaker. Okay, because there's only a degree difference between the 300s and the 200s. And the TCBs are made for guys with a little bit higher swing speed, getting to the ball. So I would imagine that they're probably yet again a degree or two weaker. They're beautiful clubs. You can find the middle, they go really, really well, but you got to find the middle. Hey, there's my better efferent. What do you say, sir? From Arizona, hope you and Rob are doing well and had a happy Easter. We did. I saw some of your builds, dude. Well done. Right? He was doing some Tacomos, but he had these. Were you getting them? Are you using BB&Fs, man? Because some of those ferrules look pretty cool, I have to admit. He had rainbow flavor colors to set the club off. He's doing a lot of the custom-y stuff. Okay. He's doing a really good job out there.
Nice.
Thank you for the info on the bar through. Exactly what you meant. Good. Glad. My rounds this weekend were completed in 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Nice.
Wow. Nicely done. That's some golfing right there. And look at here. And that was walking.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, awesome. So
right there.
I'm going to be putting, so here's what I call this, a public service announcement of my own ego and my brain not working. So the place I like going to went to a brand new golf cart, which is it was probably the most comfiest golf cart I've ever been in. And it's got GPS. And it's also got a geofence. And if I had a ball bat, I would have destroyed every last one of those damn GPSs. and the reason why is the geofence. And if you know what I mean by a geofence, so the cart has a GPS locator in it. And what they've done is they've electronically mapped out their golf
where
course.
You can go.
And they say, okay, we only want you within 15 yards of the thing. And it goes, it does, and what it'll do is it'll kill the cart.
Yeah, you got to go.
All right, now we've played in places, Bob and I played, where they give you a map. We ran into it once, and we looked down, and there's this map, and there's this bright yellow line that says, "Here's the fence. Don't go near there." Once we understood that, we avoided all that stuff. This does not have that. It gives you, it pops up. Hey, you're getting ready to get into it, and you're done.
Geez.
And it just like that. And I am like, my brain is melting because, okay, I'm in the wrong spot. I need to back up. Well, you put it in reverse, and it doesn't do anything. Okay, maybe put it in drive. Put it in drive, still doesn't do anything. I'm like, well, they tell you got to get out of there. How are you going to get out if the cart don't work? And give me just a hair more warning, please. Just a hair, so I can do it. But oh my gosh, my brain was ready to blow up. Oh, all right, there it was. I'm off my soapbox again. All right, Ophelia plus was a +3, but I'm probably a solid 8 once they opened the golf center 11 years ago. Those who get into the golf business do not play golf. I'm here to tell you.
I was told that very early in life.
Yes. All right. And on the install, I've watched your videos and install like 20 times. Hopefully my trashy garage Bill makes it through the day without sending a club into the woods. If you take your time, man, make sure you really, really got to have the hosel areas cleaned out, have the tip sections cleaned out so that the epoxy has something to bind to. Even if it doesn't look good, as long as it's doing that part, no worries. All righty. Fires have not ended, still smoldering. Good golly. The smoke was so bad this morning, I could not see the greens from the tee box 300 yards away.
Wow.
It lasted an hour. This is the same one from when we were down there? They said they had it contained. They didn't have it out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, good Lord, man, what's it going to take? What course did you play in Arizona?
So we have family that lives in that lived in Chandler. We have family that lives in Goodyear and family that lives in Buckeye. But I played. I played the course, the Grand Canyon University course. That one, Papago, as I mentioned, which is where Arizona State plays now.
Oh, I bet that's nice.
Yeah, that was very nice. And then my favorite out of all of them was Verado. The Verado, I forget which one. It was the one Tom Lehman designed, and that was my favorite out of it. And we spent. We spent a week there, and I think I played 4 times, 115 degrees in the middle of July. It was nice. You needed a cart. You really couldn't walk it, but the Verado course was my favorite, and then second would have been Papago. And I can't remember what the Grand Canyon course name. That's off the top of my head. But.
All right. Krister says the short game in his season. You need to talk to this guy.
Yeah, right.
Talk to this guy.
You saw my putting stroke.
But it works.
Yeah.
And his short game is like as icically cold, right on the money. So yeah.
I practice a lot of it. Or I usually practice a lot of it. That's one thing I've got to get back to.
There you go. Look at here. You just need to practice gouging out the rough. No doubt. Let's see. Yep. Balance is the key in a golf swing, no doubt about it. I'm 100% in agreement. Sorry if I said hello. I'm visiting with Matt's wife, Sally. It's okay. You don't see Sally much. That's true. Matt, I'm 6'5" as well. I play my driver at 45. It gives me better center of face. There you go. Cool enough.
Especially if you're tall, short arms, long arms. Everybody is built differently. You've got to get stuff that fits you.
Right.
You can play it. You can play whatever. You'll figure it out, like I said earlier. But once you don't have to figure it out, you're going to find the center of the club face so much more consistently. And if they ever say that that's what this game is about, is like the consistency aspect, it's never going to be the same. You're not hitting the same shot ever. You hit it once and it'll be over. But
I say consistency and control.
Yeah. But
here's a good one. What's the best driver you ever hit? Feel, distance, sound, look to the eye. His is the Nicholas Air Bear. And then the R7 TP.
Titleist 973K or 982, one of those.
The K model.
Yeah, the K model. They had this. I had the 975D, 983K. 983K.
975D. That was a big one.
Oh my gosh. And those Titleists, those are always flatter than anything that I had. And I used, oh my gosh.
983K. Was that the open face model?
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know.
Smaller. Yeah. I think this K model was a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And a very tall face.
Yes.
Very tall face.
I think one of my nephews still has that. He's using that right now.
There you go.
Yeah. That was my favorite driver of all time.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Let's see. Man, I'd have to go back. I probably still have it.
Yeah. That's a great question though.
When I first got started, Efren, one of the neatest golf clubs I ever had that I liked was from KZG. And that thing, it was one of their smaller golf heads, and it was bright red, and I lit that thing up like a Roman candle. And I don't even know why I got rid of it, but it replaced an old Ping i2 driver.
Oh.
The Ping i2 driver was before I knew anything about golf.
Is that the wooden one? Oh yeah.
That was before I knew anything about golf. But the KZG was when I was building for KZG back in the day. And man, oh man, that was a nice driver.
I'm
I
saying,
really like that one. And the other one that I hit very, very well is the one that you're playing,
oh,
the Wishon
oh
Club.
my gosh. Yeah,
That
I would
Wishon
say
Club.
Deshaun is number 2.
Yeah,
Just because of the
Yep.
how there's the overall, because they talk about which ones can fit you the most. The
Mhm.
Wishon has more, anything can fit to everybody because of the lie angle movements, because of the flipping of the lofts, everything.
Yep.
But
He says the tailor-made stealth that was hazardous black shaft cut to 45 inches. We call it the swoosh up here. We like to buy old barrels from distillers, soak them with water for a while, and drain the gold. I heard that. I heard that not too long ago. That it's a Canadian thing, and that's what they were doing. They would take the.
Is their whiskey made the same like corn, or I don't know enough about it. So.
What they were doing is up there. What you do is you take a very freshly dumped whiskey barrel, and then you would pour water in it and let it sit there for a while and gel up, and then you pour it out, and then you would
get
have,
some of the whiskey out of it.
Yeah, you would have it. It would very
would it be diluted.
Yes, it'd be a small version of the distillate. But if you look at Canadian whiskey does not have the bite that an American bourbon has. And it's not because it's because of the environment, because they don't have huge temperature swings where, like in Kentucky, where most of it's at, huge temperature swings, and it goes into the wood, out of the wood, into the wood. Up there, it's and the temperature is what makes it go into the wood, come out of the wood.
Okay.
And so you get a different kind of whiskey. I think it was called Canadian Mist or even Canadian Club. I think it was I don't know if that's very good or not, but when I think of that, it's the way it to me, Canadian whiskey drinks a lot like Irish whiskey.
Okay.
And that's where they gets that from. Here we go. Bike C fails. In fact, I'd have to say the title's 975. There you go. And the Graphaloy shaft. That was a popular.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was a popular one right there. Yes, that was a really, really, really popular combination. The reds and the blues, you bet, man. Oh yeah. Yep. Man, I remember the Hogan Apex Redline irons with the square grooves.
Oh yeah.
Oh my. Yep. I do love the Pro-Ams because the balls they use in the practice area have been thrown out of 3. Yeah. But you ought to see the neat balls I play with. Yeah, easy, buddy, easy. Matarat, any advice on stiff mid-launch Oban driver shaft? I can't tell. I don't. Honestly, this is where I'm going to have to fail you, man, because I don't do a lot with Oban. Oban is, in my neck of the woods, is a driver shaft that nobody would play, so I've not really had a chance to study it.
Never even heard of it.
Oban is a very high-end shaft. Oban they make a really great shaft.
Really?
Yeah, but it is very, we'll call it exotic. All right, and their propensity is, I do know their propensity. Their propensity is very tight specs and very, 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 very small changes. In that, for instance, in a driver shaft, a very, very good torque for the under the bell curve people is between 3.1 and 3.3. That's a big, it's not a real big span, but 3.2 being the sweet spot, and that hits a lot of people just really, really good. The club feels good, reacts good, plays good. When you get a little more aggressive, then you just go less. If you're a little more smoother, you go a little bit more, and you're good. Oban tends to play things a little bit tighter than that. Their idea is like 3.0 ish, right? I'm going to say that. But unfortunately, Matt, I can't give you on a particular model at all because I just don't cover Oban. And I've seen 2 Oban shafts in my entire life. So I'd love to be able to tell you, but I can't. They're saying hello back. John, Fave driver younger days, the Wilson K28. Oh my, yeah, there you go. That was just before. Was that before the killer whale? Certainly before the killer whale. That goes way back, right? I mean, that was before the killer whale.
Yeah.
All righty. Okay, that was a while ago. Oh yeah. Yep, man, it could really hit it though. Here we go. Wilson 99 or the Sean 919. Yeah. You can't go wrong with that one. You're welcome, Matt. I wish I could help you, man, but I just don't have a knowledge of those guys. All right, guys and gals. Again, we saw some new names in here. We really appreciate it. It was because Matt was showing up and talking to us today, and I mean, I really do appreciate it. You guys make it all the fun. Matt, thank you for coming again.
Thank you for having me.
And we can talk golf all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can do that.
This is fun.
Yeah. So again, guys, thanks a lot. I'm not going to tell you. I promised you a video, and as I was telling Matt, my psychological id is completely broken as far as making a swing. I'd love to be able to tell you that. And now I will tell you this, from a Callaway perspective, the things do work. I just wish I could show it to you and show you how they work. So I have to get out on the course a little bit more, get my mind right a little bit more. But outside of that, as usual, guys, thank you very much. And we'll talk to you again. Watch for a video in case I get very energetic. And as always, let's see your scores. Go low.